Good evening. My name is Delisa Lopez. I am currently a student at the Grand Canyon University, and I'm in the course EAD 523. And today I want to talk a little bit about how technology is incorporated in our lesson plans to drive instruction for our students. So just to kind of give a little bit about myself, I am currently a preschool teacher. So technology is a limited source for myself as the teacher to be used as a whole class. However, we do have many ways that it is incorporated in my classroom and throughout the school. We do have a smart board. We have tablets for the students in my class. We use it in ways to kind of reinforce skills. We use it as teachers to drive our lesson in the sense that that's where our lesson plans are stored, and so many other resources that are shared throughout the curriculum with not only each other as educators, but also with our families to kind of reinforce these skills that we are teaching at home and to assess them. So just to kind of show you a little bit about what our lesson plan looks like, I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. Okay. So this is the program that we use for our lesson plans. It is My Teaching Strategies. This is not only the program that we use for lesson plans, but this is also what holds our resources that are available online. This is our curriculum, and this is also our website that we go to record our assessments that we take for our students and kind of keep us on track as to make sure that they are where they should be developmentally. So just to kind of dive right into it, as for technology, this is going to be geared more towards me as their teacher and how I use technology for myself. So first, when you are doing your lesson plans, they're all stored here under this tab, Teach. You can view it either as a month or weekly. So I'm going to start with I'm going to only show you my weekly, just because this is going to be the meat of how I use my technology for myself to help my students developmentally. So today, this is what I did. The lesson plan breaks it down into your topic that you're going over with the students. It'll break it down into the day that you are in, depending on that particular investigation. And the essential question is always going to be listed at the top. Each part of the lesson plan is then broken down into your materials you're going to need, your question of the day, your Mighty Minutes. Your Mighty Minutes is a small activity or game or song that you do with your kids that kind of reinforces a skill that you're teaching. It can be counting, it could be letter recognition, rhyming, phonics, shapes. And then you have your large group. So when you click into the large group, it tells you more or less how to conduct the large group. So it'll tell you your opening routine, which is usually the teacher will have a welcome song that they do every day with the students, talking about who's here, who's out. You have a movement or a song or game, which is that Mighty Minute that was shown to you on the previous page. And then you have your discussion and shared writing. So this is, again, going to be a lot of teacher directed in the beginning part of it, because you're going to set them up with a question, ask them questions about the study. You're going to go over that question of the day with them. But more importantly, you're also going to be recording what the students say, and you're writing it down so that they're seeing it written, that their words can be written down onto paper and what it looks like. So you're encouraging the letters and letters forming words and their ideas having a meaning to it. So that's just one part of the lesson. After we do that, most times during large group, it is a lot of just teacher and student interaction. Every once in a while, You can incorporate technology piece to it, which is something that I sometimes will do. If, let's just say, because they're in preschool, I need a picture of something. So I will incorporate my smart board to give them that visual piece because, again, they are in preschool. They need lots of visuals, especially for my students who are English learning. Their first language is Spanish. So if they're not understanding what I'm saying, having that visual piece for them is going to really help drive that lesson and kind of help with what it is that I'm talking about. So in that way, I do try to include technology in my large group. However, it's not really needed and it's not really included in our lesson plans just because it's really more about that teacher and student interaction and that student giving you that language piece of it and you as the teacher writing it down so they can see that. Then you have choice time. So during choice time, the classroom is set up into different areas. One of them is technology area, which is where we bring in our tablets for our students. On our lesson plan, we just kind of write down what area we are incorporating new toys that are related to the study, and it'll most likely uh, relate to what you're talking about during large group. So for example, for this day in particular, we are going to add ramps in our block area to kind of talk about how fast the balls roll down the ramp because we were talking about that during our large group, about the height of the ramps, talking about which one's faster, slower, based on the size and things like that. One way you can incorporate it is one of the areas is actually technology area. In technology area, you can set up a tablet for them, which is provided with educational games on there. You have to set the tone from the beginning, let the students know we're not watching videos. In the sense that watching a video off of YouTube, like cartoon shows, we're not watching Netflix. It is purely apps that are allowed, that are educational, that are learning and has a purpose. And that is mostly because as the teacher, during choice time is when you're going to get a lot of your assessing done to see how are these kids doing in the class? How are they progressing? Where do they need support? Where are they going to exceed? And now you as the teacher need to start challenging them to get them to that next level. So technology, again, is very limited, but it is used, and they are given a timer. So the student is aware that they are allowed a certain amount of time. It's the only area that we are allowed to time them. And then when the timer goes off, they have to pick a new area. With that, we then do small group. So small group is going to be your most teacher directed part of the day and most structured part of the day, in the sense that it is what I want to focus on, what skill I want to focus on. And this is where I really get to edit it, play with it a little bit, differentiate based on my students. I have different goals and objectives based on where they are developmentally. So this one is all about playing with environmental print. So I would have magazines. Again, we try to limit the technology, but I can do something with them with a magazine. I can have boxes already prepared, cereal boxes. I can have candy wrappers. I can have pictures of Netflix, Disney Plus, all these things that the kids are more likely to recognize already printed out on paper. However, I can also use my Google Slides. So I like to use Google Slides as a way to reinforce the skill. I do have this particular resource that I use. It is the small group that I will be doing. So again, environmental print. And then with that, I have the slides already set up. I can set it up for them with the small group on a tablet. And then I would scroll through and we would then play the game, have them recognize each of the letters, go over the letters. So my objective is going to be, if I go back to my intentional teaching card, uses print concepts. So if I wanted to align this to my preschool standards, we do have a resource here. And this is A very important resource to have virtually, and if you prefer to print it and have it paper copy, hard copy, it's also highly recommended to do that as well. But this is the Teaching Strategies Goals Objectives for Development and Learning Birth through Kindergarten. And it aligns to the preschool teaching and learning standards. So I went back down to page 16 to kind of give you an idea. As the teacher, when I'm assessing that student, I want to see, one, am I following my standards? Which for that day, because my objective is 17B, I'm going to look here, 17B, that's my teaching goal objective. And now I can look over to my left and I can see that it aligns with the standard follow words from left to right, top to bottom, page by page. So I now know I'm okay. I'm going to assess my student in it. And with the assessment piece, we're going to take you back to that program. And here is where I assess. So I have all my students' names. I add my documentation based on how my students did. I'm taking notes as I'm conducting these small groups with them. I'm then going to go into my objectives. 17B uses print concepts, and based on how they did during my small group is where I'm going to add my notes. So if I wanted to say, little Johnny showed me that he was understanding the text in a meaningful way and can be read. So he points to a fish. He may say things like just one pinch, right? If he's able to do that, I'm going to write my note. I'm going to write it exactly how I saw it. I'm going to label it with the date, and then I'm going to upload it. Based on these color bands is going to tell me if my student is developmentally where they are supposed to be. So this is another great resource to have that is virtually, it's all kept in one platform. And I can show you what it looks like. So we have our checkpoints that we have to do, which is all tied into their report cards. But more importantly, when I go to my reports, it's going to not only give me my report card, but it'll also give me my class profile, which shows me where the students are developmentally. Are they where they should be? Is there something or someone that I should be concerned and look closer at? My documentation status lets me know what students I did assess or did not assess, and I need to maybe pool another group another day, or maybe in the afternoon I'll pull those few students that I didn't get that objective for. So it's a really great resource to have so that you're able to assess your students and make sure that they are where they're supposed to be, and if not, what I can do to help that student. I really love the fact that preschool does not use as much technology, just because they do learn through play at that age. We do have a piece of technology so that they are still learning the very basic foundation of what we can do with technology, because when they go into kindergarten, they are given a Chromebook. And with that Chromebook, they're still learning the basics, the keys, the mouse, the screen. But then they also start learning more about the different programs like Kahoot and Quiz, and they're able to then use their Google Classroom a little more. Or for us, sometimes the teachers are really we just started Schoology, so they're gonna have to learn how to use it. However, we just want to make sure that because with the preschool students, it's still developmentally appropriate. I personally, I think that as we are growing with age, some of these students are able to navigate technology better than myself. So I think that's something that we should kind of reconsider and maybe look a little more into and see if there's a way to increase that time for our preschool students. But overall, I have seen a success with my students and technology, and I use it in my classroom every day, just limited. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.